I'm here at the local Ag Extension office, which is a fantastic resource for all different types of support that you may need on your land. So today I'm here to grab the soil sample bags and the soil sample instructions so I can send it off properly. So I'm gonna go into the Ag Extension office real quick, grab these bags, and we'll get to collecting some samples. So I got the bags, as you can see here, nice and easy instructions on these bags. These are the bags that I'll send my samples in, and a nice set of instructions. This is going to tell me everything from how much soil to collect. It's also going to tell me how to collect the soil to ensure that I get the most accurate sample. Once we send these samples in, it'll be very interesting to see how our soil is doing. We have some decent grass, but I'm always looking for opportunities to improve. So once we send this in and get our results, we'll know the exact steps that we need to take to ensure that we have optimum soil to grow the best forage possible. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be taking some soil samples today. I went over to our Ag Extension office, which, by the way, if you have one, is a fantastic resource for anything agriculture. It's a free service that allows local farmers and ranchers to be able to have someone that really advises you to improve your operation. One of the important things to know when you're sending off a sample is ensuring that you follow the instructions. They get so many that if for some reason you've done it wrong, they're going to kick yours to the side. So very important that you follow the instructions. So that's what I have here. The second thing is you're going to want a bucket, just any kind of bucket so you can collect your soil sample in. When I first thought about doing this, I had no clue how to collect a soil sample. I just assumed you go out there with a shovel, you dig up some dirt, you send it off, and you get a test. Well, I realized it's a little more than that. One of the things that I learned is that for every area that you sample, and you can do an area anywhere from 10 to 40 acres. And so what we're going to do, we have 3 pastures here and a hayfield, and so we're going to do 4 samples, our hayfield and our 3 pastures. So what you do is you go around and you take different samples from different areas on your farm. So you just don't go to one spot, dig a hole, put dirt in the bag and send it off. You take a plug here, a plug there, and you do about 10 or 12 of them throughout the area you're wanting to sample to ensure that you get a good representation of the land that you're wanting to test. Another tool that is important when you're taking samples is actually getting a soil sample tool. I bought this off of Amazon. This tool here enables you to get a sample with little effort, and it makes it very quick and easy. At the bottom of this tool, it has a sharp end on it, which cuts through the soil and grabs that sample. And then this tube here is open, so when you collect soil, it shows up in the tube and you just grab it and put it in your bucket. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this pasture here and I'm going to collect about 12 to 14 different samples. I'm going to put them into our bucket. We're going to mix this around and then we'll put it in our bag to send off over to Texas A&M, and they'll test our sample and let us know what our soil is looking like. So this is one of the soil samples that I'm taking, and I just wanted to show you how cool this tool is. When you take this sample, it actually will give you a cross section of what your soil looks like. This pasture is very sandy, and then as you go up towards the surface, you can see you have a lot of organic matter that's breaking down. This is proof that your trampled grasses, your hay, all those things that eventually break down, and you start thinking to yourself, man, I'm trampling a lot. It's a lot of waste. You can see here, it's really not waste. This is actually good, productive soil. When you see wasted hay, quote unquote, or you see grass that's being trampled, you always don't really get to see what's underneath the ground, but there you go. That, to me, from a visual standpoint, looks very, very healthy. And all that is broken down thatch, really. Whether it be grass, old hay, mixed with manure, urine, everything, and it creates a really rich fertilizer that helps the soil. If you look out in the pasture, you just see beautiful coastal grass everywhere. But underneath the grass is really what you want to pay attention to, because this is the starting point in order to have that. As you can see behind me, our pasture is being taken over by what we call goat weed. I think I saw online where the technical name is woolly croton or something similar to that, but around here we call it goat weed. And around July, this stuff starts coming on. If you go back to past videos and look at some of the pictures of our pastures, this stuff was not here. And now it is just everywhere. So this stuff here is the motivation behind me wanting to test the soil. My thought is that our soil is missing something for all this to come up. It seems like every year it just gets worse and worse. So cows don't eat this. This is very easy to pull up. Obviously, as much as we have, pulling it up is just not an efficient way to do it. And so we'll have to go back and mow. But I'd be curious to know if you guys experience this and what you are doing to get rid of it. Because I tell you what, it is a battle to get rid of this stuff here. But what we're going to do is we're going to test our soil, number one, and see if our soil is missing anything. And I think from there, the best thing that I can do is just start to mow this before it starts getting as big as it is. It's starting to seed out on me, which, again, I'm not doing myself any favors by letting it go to seed. The short-term solution is to mow it. The long-term solution is to fix our soil. And hopefully, by doing that, we'll fix it from coming back. Very important to get it to the required fill line, and then once you have it there, all you gotta do is seal this up. Oh, got an ant in here. Let's not take him for a ride. Seal this up, and you're in business. So there's a couple of blanks you have to fill out on this bag when you submit it. Your sample ID, that's just what you want to identify your sample. So in this case, we call this the front pasture, so I'm gonna put on here front pasture. So when the soil results come back, I know what result goes with what pasture. The second thing is gonna be the name. I'll just put my name, and then the business. We call this ranch the Lazy G Ranch, and so we'll put that there. There's an additional form that accompanies this sample that I'll fill out as well. That has some additional information and also payment information. Yeah, I have to pay for it. It's like 12 bucks a sample, but well worth it to find out what my soil's doing. Also, Texas A&M doesn't just tell me how my soil's looking, but they'll also tell me what I need to put in my soil to get it back to an optimum producing state. I think that's very helpful. Not only are they going to tell me how I'm looking, but they're going to give me a solution moving forward. So while I'm out here collecting soil samples, I wanted to take a quick look at the cows. We are pretty much 8 months bred at this point. It's always nice just to take a look at the cows, see how they're doing, just kind of gauge how each of these girls are coming along. And I tell you, they look great. Look at that number 59. She is the smallest frame cow that we have. Funny story about her. We were buying a group of 8 of them, and I'm not a big fan of those high tailbones on those cows. I've not experienced this, but I've heard those high tailbones can create birthing problems. And so I told the guy that had this group of cows that, I didn't want her. And he was selling out, and he had to get rid of her. And so I ended up paying, oh man, $600, $700, $800, something like that for her. And honestly, she's turned out to be a good cow. She probably weighs 800 pounds, 850, something like that. But I tell you, she calves on time. She's super efficient. She stays fat. She's a cow that'll survive on grass. You don't have to cube her or anything like that. That's really all I'm looking for. I don't need a bunch of big cows out here that take up space. Yeah, they have bigger calves. I get that. They wean bigger calves. But at the end of the day, if I can have a cow that can survive on grass with hardly no inputs, I'll take that any day. And that's exactly what she does. That's another good one there, number 44. Very consistent on calving. Look at her, she is bred too. Man, she is looking good. Number 1 here, she's a really good cow. Never really any issues. She just calves on time. She's one of our bigger cows, but again, she does fine on grass. Like I mentioned in earlier videos, every so often we'll give them some cubes. A lot of times we move pastures, a little treat. In the wintertime, we will supplement with protein tubs if we need to. Most of our hay is bought off farm, and so sometimes our hay is very nutritious, like last year. We did not need protein tubs. Sometimes our hay is not so nutritious, like 2 years ago, and we needed a lot of protein tubs, so it varies. Do we want to feed protein tubs? No, but we're not gonna let our girls not get what they need because we're unwilling to do that. Our goal is to not feed protein tubs. I know, girl. Also, our goal is not to feed cubes. Our goal is just to have these girls survive on grass. And for the most part, they're doing just that. A quick look at our crossbred cows. We have 3 of them. There's our black Baldy. She is half Bremer. If you're from East Texas, it's Bremer. And the other half, she's Black Angus. Raises a good calf. And she weans a large calf. Second largest calf last year she weaned. This girl here, we got her from an auction barn, and she has a brand on her that indicates she's from the state, from the prison. She has some limousine in her. She's crossed with something else that I'm not sure of. But she performs well and has had nothing but big, nice calves. And last year she had twins. So she's a moneymaker for us. And then number 50 back there, she's our Brayford. She's half Hereford, half Bremer. She raises a good calf too. The thing I like about her, she's throwing black calves with these black bulls. So at the end of the day, you know, we still have solid black calves from her. They just have a little bit more ear than the other ones, but overall, she performs well, and they sell for top dollar, just like a purebred Angus. So these cows have been in this pasture for 2.5 weeks now, and they still got a lot of forage in here. At this point in the year, we really have a lot of options. We have forage in front of us, we have forage behind us, and we have forage where they're at. As we get ready to calve, we absolutely have some options when it comes to where we're going to put these cows. Our plan is going to be here shortly, and as you can see over there, that's our front pasture. Right now I'm in our back pasture. Our front pasture is where we're going to put the cows for the next month, or maybe a little less. But they're pretty much going to stay there until they calve. And when they're done calving, we have some options. We can put them back in our hayfield, which is about a 30-acre pasture, or we can bring them back here. The cool thing I like about here is we have a significant amount of woods here. And that makes it nice for cows to bed down their calves, hide their calves from just wildlife like coyotes and whatnot. Also, it still stays hot around here in the fall, and that gives the calves some shade. But don't really know what we're going to do with that, but I do know we're going to the front pasture next. We have a good 3-4 weeks there, and then we'll have options as far as where we put them, because everything from that point on will be recovered. The way it's looking now, we should have grass into December, and we should not have to start feeding hay until December, or maybe midway through December, which not only allows us to have options when it comes to our hay supply, but also it's going to allow us to have hay left over next year. It continues to have that snowball effect where something that could happen this year goes into next year, and we can just keep that going. One thing is for sure here in Texas, there will be another drought. And we want to make sure that we have plenty of hay and plenty of grass to ensure that we're ready for it when it comes. Well, I'm about to jump back in the Ranger, go back up to the house, the rest of these samples filled out, and get them mailed off. Well, thank y'all for hanging out with me today, and we'll see you again next time right here on the ranch.